Hi, everyone. I am Lorianne. I am the host of Bleep Bulimia, and I'm so excited to have Mallory Tenore Tarpley back with me. She was with me last year, and when she was, her book, Slip, was just coming out in August. So we were meeting in July, so it was wonderful. Now she has an exciting workshop that she is going to be sharing with us about for the people who are in that middle zone, which I love. So thank you for being here again. Really appreciate you coming back on.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. So I'm excited to talk at this workshop, and I would love for your listeners to check it out, tune into it. The workshop is really about the middle place of eating disorder recovery, and the place is the name that I've given to this liminal gray space between acute sickness and full recovery. And it's the space that I've lived in for most of my adult life. And for a long time, I thought I was the only one living in this middle place because it's not often talked about in eating disorder recovery circles. But when I was working on my book, Slip, I interviewed over 700 people with lived experience with an eating disorder. And 85% of them said they could identify with this middle place. And so I thought there's something to this. We need to be holding more space for conversations around the middle place. And so as I've been just touring the US, talking about the book and having conversations with people who have lived experience with eating disorders, I've realized that people are really craving opportunities to come together and talk about the middle place and to think creatively about how they can actually share their own stories about the middle place. And I, as a writer, think that's so important because so often the middle place is stigmatized, and because of that stigma, people remain silent. So I've created this workshop, and it's going to be taking place on Wednesday, April 22nd from 7 to 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time in the US. And it is going to be via Zoom. It's free and it's open to anyone. Particularly, it will be helpful for people who have lived experience with an eating disorder, whether you are in the thick of your disorder, whether you consider yourself fully recovered, or if you are in the middle place. And I think it'll be particularly helpful for individuals who are in this middle place because a lot of exercises we're going to be reviewing will be helping people to really put words and creativity to this place. And so I'm partnering with an artist named Therese Roeser. Some of you may be following her on Instagram. She has a really great Instagram account called Healing Crayons, and she posts artwork that is very anti-diet. And I love following her work. And I didn't know her up until about a month ago, but reached out to her there and just told her that I had been wanting to have this creative workshop around the middle place, and I wondered if she would part with me. And so we got on a call and started brainstorming ideas, and really thought that we could do something special this workshop. So the workshop will be divided into two halves. And in the first half, I'm going to be leading a series of brief writing exercises aimed at helping participants to really write authentically about their experiences in the middle place with the goal of trying to remove some of that stigma and shame that comes with living in this place. And we're going to embrace vulnerability through the written word, which is something that I've had to really do as a writer and as a memoirist. And so I'm going to draw upon some prompts and techniques I found helpful when I was writing Slip. And I'm a journalism and writing professor, so I'll be bringing that to the table too, just in terms of bringing that craft perspective to the writing exercises. And then we'll segue into a discussion with Therese, the artist, and she to really encourage participants to visualize their recovery as a garden, a space for planting seeds and fostering growth and composting what's no longer useful. So she is to guide participants through an exercise in which they'll use printed or drawn images create their own collage. So you don't have to have artistic expertise or experience to take part in this. You don't have to have writing experience to take part. All you really need to show up. You can bring a pen and paper. It would be helpful just to have some construction paper or cardboard, just something that you can use for the collage, and just images that you might want to use for that collage. So you could have a magazine, right, that you could cut some pictures out of, for instance, or photos that you might want to include in the collage, scissors and glue stick, and there you go, right? So not many materials. You don't need to consider yourself an artist or a writer to take advantage of this opportunity. And really, we're going to kind of just be together in this space on Zoom. There will be an opportunity for participants to share what they've created if they'd like, but there's no obligation to do that. But we will have a little bit of time for that sharing. And if folks, for whatever reason, can't attend live, they will get the recording after the fact if they've registered. But I hope as many people as possible can tune in live. And I really want to create this safe, fun, creative space for talking about the nuances of eating disorder recovery and for empowering people to share their own narratives and experiences in this middle place. And even if folks don't want to share what they've created with the rest of the group, I think that experience of just being able to create art and write about our experience in the middle place is a really important step in the recovery process. I know for me, once I started writing about the middle place and talking about it and speaking truth to it, it actually propelled me forward in my recovery because I no longer felt ashamed of it. I realized that I could actually be in a place of progress and that I could really grow from within the middle place. And it didn't have to be this place where I settled for stagnancy. So growth and progress will really be at the heart of this workshop. And I'm excited for people to join us.
Well, I was really excited because when you posted, I do have a Facebook group called Midlife um, Bulimia Recovery, and you posted there, and that was like it really opened up to me. I love that you're saying like no shame, being with people who are like, and whether you're recovered or not, I think, and you're in that middle space, um, and you're recovered. It's still nice to go back to saying, I'm proud of being recovered. And I would be doing that kind of doodling stuff. So, um, I now,
Yes.
would you recommend? I just think this is kind of fun. Like, so you said a board or whatever, but like you have your guest, like the crayon lady, like having coloring pencils, like being colorful. I just, I mean, even look at, this way. I have to point that way. My Bleep Bulimia is full of, I know, we assume it's kind of weird, but everything it was colorful. Like the Bleep Bulimia, it's colorful and saying that, um, yeah, it's not with me anymore. And my life is colorful again. Where, and I'm going to say something really quick while I'm thinking about it. While I had bulimia, a lot of my dreams were black and white. When I stopped, they became color. And I know that's weird. And I don't know if that's for a lot of people out there, but you lose your colors. So I love the crayon part of it. So I would recommend anyone who's going to join this Zoom, bring your colors. Like, if you have a
Yes.
bunch of, crayons or coloring pencils, or just get some and color your experiences. Because I think that all our ups and downs were full of colors, and some were gray, but there's still a lot of colors. So I love it. I love this option for people to join and free. Oh my goodness, that's wonderful. Seriously, you're
Yeah, we
wonderful.
really, yeah, thank you. We want to try to make it as accessible as possible. And so just lowering those barriers to entry and making it free. And I love your idea of bringing crayons, about just bringing color into the conversation. And Yeah, when we are really acutely sick and struggling, life can feel black and even in terms of thinking about the way that we talk about sickness and recovery, it tends to be very black and white. And I think the space allows for more exploration of gray space. It also can open up conversations about bringing that color and just vivacity back into your life. And so, yes, bring as many art supplies and markers and crayons and coloring pencils as you'd like.
Be a kid again, you know,
Yes.
and sometimes that's what we need to do. We don't do it often enough. So I really appreciate you being here. But now, very important, I need people to know where to find you to sign up for this because it's to me, I think one of the best experiences that anybody who, like I said, whether and slipping or recovered would be meeting up with like people. So please let us know.
Yes. So if you go to my Substack newsletter, you'll be able to find more details and you can just go to mallory.substack.com. And my name is spelled Mallry. So mallory.substack.com. And I can give you the link for the show notes as well. But that's the best place you can find just a little post about it, give you more details, and then you'll also see the Zoom registration link in there as well.
Perfect. And can you just repeat, please, what the date is and what the time is?
Sure. So it's Wednesday, April 22nd from 7 p.m. to 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And I do really enjoy I appreciate that it is at that time. For me, it'll be a little bit hard because I am Eastern Standard Time to get there. But the fact that it's evening and so that it will be accessible for most people, that's really important. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And for our listeners, please do go online, check out Slip. Please tell me about the book too, and so my listeners can get out there and know about it. It is available in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle, you said.
Yes, so it's available in hardcover in Canada, the US, Australia, and the UK. Is available in Kindle, at least in the US, and there's also an audiobook version as well. It is going to be in paperback version this summer, and there's going to be a Spanish translation that comes out in June. So, yes, it's a memoir of my own experiences of having anorexia as a child after losing my mother, and then looks really at this ongoing aspect of recovery and looks at the middle place. So it weaves together my own personal narrative with the narratives of other people with all different types of eating disorders. And I bring in kind of the latest research and science around eating disorders as well. So I hope your listeners will find it helpful.
I really do too. I do believe they will. And and I do remember very much the one thing before we go that still to me hits my heart is that you lost your mother at a very young age. And the idea of your anorexia really being associated with wanting to stay small was a big it hit me hard. Um, and I appreciate you sharing that information. And that we had talked about in our previous podcast, which anyone out there can go to. It was episode 128, I believe. Um, that story it was very heartfelt, but you learned as to what affected you, and that's what we talked about in that podcast. Is that so many people with eating disorders don't know why. And sometimes the why is the biggest reason it's the biggest venue to recovery, I would think. At least it's a big part of it. So
It is. Yeah, just unpacking why the disorder came about and then also why you may still feel drawn to it. Because I think part of what we have to recognize in recovery is that at some point in time, maybe even still, the eating disorder served a purpose. And so, what purpose did it serve, and how can recovery efforts help to serve those purposes in a different, more strength-based way? So, yeah, I hope your listeners, if they haven't heard that episode, will go back and listen to it, because I remember you asked such thoughtful questions, and we really got into the origin story of the eating disorder and unpacked a lot of that.
Definitely. Thanks again so much, Mallory, for being here. And I'm hoping, I don't know, can people slide in at any time, or is it like a time base? So if I get home a little bit later and I can still get within that period of time, can I jump on?
Yes, yeah, you're welcome to do that, and you'll be able to catch up pretty easily.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you so much again for coming back on. Really appreciate your time. Okay.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. I'm so excited that you came. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. Be sure to visit me at bleepbulimia.com.